What's going on, guys? Okay, so today we are going to take a look at the 97 convertible Mustang. A little bit of background on this. This is not the wheels that it came on. This is a car I actually bought from the Junkyard. I love how it says 95. It's actually 97. So a car does have, it's a little bit rough, don't get me wrong. It looks like it needs a floor pan on the passenger side. Here, if I open up there. Just kind of gross. Needs some wiring. Unfortunately, it's an automatic, but it is a convertible. So most important part, though, is what we paid for it. We paid about $1,700 out the door for this, and these cars, even in this kind of craptastic condition, do go for a pretty penny right now. I do already have a replacement bumper for the front end. So the main issue with this car, and let's see if I can get this open one-handed. Main issue with this car is it will not start. So the thing that we are believing it is, and hold on, the thing that we're believing that it is it's either a starter, potentially a relay. I mean, as you can see, this thing's not really been worked over. I haven't taken a whole lot of time to look it all through, but for example, I did check the fuses here. Everything all seemed, these are all the ignition switch fuses right here. They all seem decent. I didn't inspect the wiring underneath, unfortunately, but I haven't tested this relay. I'm gonna make sure the horn works. Got to grab a battery first, and I'm gonna flip the relays to make sure the horn works, just so I can rule out the relay being the possible issue. From there, we're gonna probably have to pull it out onto the driveway and pull the starter off. So it does need a reservoir right here. As well, don't get me wrong, this thing's kind of beat, but at the same time, it's a convertible for less than $2,000. And these cars are actually pretty fun for what it is. The convertibles on the SN95s, they come with like the strut tower bracing, as well as overall they're a little bit more stout from body roll. The coupes had a little bit of an issue, just like the older Fox bodies. So overall, this thing should be pretty fun. This thing's just going to be a cruiser. The side benefit is I get to finally cut the lawn underneath here. This thing has been sitting in this spot for about 4 weeks, and before that it was over there for about 2 weeks. So I have just been dumb busy, and I have not gotten a chance to really look it over yet, but or not look it over, but I haven't gotten a chance really to get it going, figure out what's wrong. So it does have a full aftermarket exhaust with an X pipe, but one of the mufflers is rotted in the front. Not a big deal. It looks like it had recently done drilled and slotted rotors, presumably pads, as well as, it's got some shocks done to it. Actually, if I look in the back, let's see if I can, this one gonna. So it's already got presumably a fuel pump done, which is actually nice on there. I don't really care that they put that hole in. I think it's kind of funny. I know the go-to right now is everybody's putting in the marine hatches. But beyond that, this thing is a little crusty. Like I said, it's going to need a passenger floor pan. Overall, the rag top looks decent. I didn't notice any massive tears. This window isn't all the way down, which is why some water got in, or it's not all the way up. So the paint's kind of shot, but honestly, that's the way I prefer it. So overall, this thing should be a good time. So I'm gonna go grab a battery so that we can take a look at what's going on here. So we can test these fuses, or I'm sorry, the relays, as well as I need to remove this power wire because this is all wired up in line. Also looking at it a little bit before starting the video, found just a couple of stupid things where it's like, a couple of the coil wires weren't actually fully depressed onto the plugs themselves. I found actually, it looks like this is an open vacuum line, so I'll plug this because it looks like it runs down there, and I'm gonna see if I can give you a little bit more light. So it runs down there somewhere. I need to see exactly what that vacuum line goes to. And actually looking, no, I can't see that. So yeah, I need to see exactly what that vacuum line goes to, because I have a feeling that this may have been the entire reason that the car was taken to the junkyard more than anything else, due to the fact that it had an open vacuum leak, because this runs right to the back of the intake. So this would make the car run absolutely terrible if it was in an open condition. So yeah, we'll see. No matter what, these things are cheap to work on. They're cheap to fix. It's going to need some stuff, unfortunately. I mean, just the overall situation of it's just going to need work. Looking at the condensers kind of shot, it looks like both fenders are bent. I know when I was loading it onto the trailer, unfortunately, I hooked on to the bottom of what I thought was a cross member. It was not. It's just a piece of fascia. So I had to go back and go around the rear sway or the front sway bar. So unfortunately, that will need to be changed. But that's not a huge deal, especially because it doesn't really matter to get it running, which is the overall goal of this, at least in the initial phase. So I'm gonna go get some tools, and we'll come back and see what we can find. I'm only using a crescent wrench because I really don't feel like walking back and forth 100 times today. This is just an open amplifier wire that really didn't need to be hooked up for right now. It's nice that it's already ran, but also the guy did a piss poor job. You never just don't terminate a wire and hook it right up to the fuse box. It's going to give you issues, especially. The number one thing you should always do is you should always have a bus fuse in line, because that's 4-gauge wire, so he's probably running some actually decently powerful amplifiers and subs. So if you ever have an issue, you want that fuse to blow in line, because if not, it's gonna blow the deck up or the amplifier. So it's kind of silly actually that he didn't run that, because they're $10 and it's not even insurance. They're just something you do. You don't really screw around with those. So these terminals are also absolutely terrible. For what I'm doing right now, they're serviceable, but they will be replaced in the long run. That's the plan. So unless this motor is totally locked up, which even then I almost don't really care, because you can get these motors for incredibly cheap right now at the junkyard. Like, I can probably replace the whole motor for 200 bucks. It'll be more of a pain to remove it than it will be to buy it. That's how cheap they are. Okay, let me just double check to make sure it didn't decide to start working while it's been sitting. Okay, so absolutely nothing when I click the key. So, oh, I didn't know if I heard a fuel pump. Let's make sure. I think this was before anti-theft in these cars, so it shouldn't be anything related to that. Okay, so the main issue with this thing is absolutely nothing. Oh, I need to test the horn. All right, so the horn works. This is the horn relay, this is the starter relay. So I hate how close they put all these together, because there's not really a good way for you to be able to pull them and service them. And then of course, they're also just very, very tight in there. Probably a good thing. Most of the time people don't need to service relays, but at the same point, it'd be nice if they didn't have to do it this way. Okay. So the fastest way to do this is, now that I'm just switching these relays are the exact same. If the horn works, it's reasonable to assume the relay works. And if that's the case, more than likely, starter's probably actually dead. So let's see. Okay. Okay, well, now we kind of did the early troubleshooting. I'm also going to take a look in the passenger compartment to see if there's any fuses that would be related to this, but likely there's something going on with the actual starter itself. So if that's the case, then I will back this up as far as pushing it, and then we'll pull it onto the driveway where I can jack it up and take a look underneath to see what's going on.
My screen? I'm okay. Thank you, though. I don't want to be the only. No. I'm on I'm on a weird diet thing. Yeah, I am too. It's called not eating.
Okay guys, so the GoPro battery did die. However, we have the new bumper mocked up onto the car right now. The old one, I had my buddy Cody actually take off that. We also removed the factory totally destroyed front fascia piece. So here's where we are at as of right now. So I'm not gonna get everything done today. Unfortunately, both tires are low again. Those tires are probably junk. However, we were able to take the starter off. Thankfully, there was only 2 bolts in there. Anybody that knows these modular Ford motors, it's such a pain because they have 3 bolts. So it ends up being orientated like this, if I recall correctly, but it's backwards. Yep, where you have to get it from these. So it ends up being orientated in such a way that the 3rd bolt hole, and it's actually this one right here, is such a pain to get to that anybody that does these only puts the 2 ends. So thankfully that was already done on this, but it's a factory Ford starter. I don't know, I don't make the rules. So unfortunately we're gonna leave it like this. I've got a new starter coming in, but we have this mocked up at least enough for me to throw out the old one and then be able to slide this back. So I'm probably going to lower this down off the jack stands now, and then likely kind of talking over with Cody. Hey guys, so without getting too much into it, unfortunately our receiver had died midway through the recording of this video. All we were talking about was gutting the gross interior, and that's a little bit of the footage I'm going to show next, but truly this thing was absolutely nasty.
it appears that we've got an ant colony. That is gross. That is very, very gross. Okay then.